Caramelized onions should be a staple in any fridge. They can add a layer of flavor that gives the wow factor when you bite into a sandwich or a burger. They're easy to make, although they take time and attention to do them well. And then they can be stored in the fridge for a week as a quick add to your sandwiches or a topping for an omelet. The equipment is just as simple as the ingredients. A large flat pan, a spatula, and your chef's knife. I don't use a non-stick pan for this, and I like a wide pan that will let the water evaporate. After all, we're trying to get rid of the moisture in the onions to concentrate the sugars. This is all about caramelization and the Maillard effect. The ingredients list is simple. Onions. Today I'm using a yellow onion and a red onion, some balsamic vinegar to deglaze the pan, and some salt for seasoning. To prep, cut your onions from root to tip, peel them, trim the top, and I like to cut them into strips. Any kind of onion will work. Yellow onions, white onions, red onions, or even shallots, but they all offer a slightly different result, which is why I like to mix them. Sweet onions will give you a mellow flavor with a brightness at the end. A red onion has a deeper flavor, but a little less sweetness. And yellow onions will have a mild bitterness, but a sweetness backing it up. Here's the trick to caramelizing onions. There is no trick. You take onions, a pan, you go slow, and you stay vigilant. Like making traditional risotto, the moment you step away is when it's all going to go wrong. Make sure you've got the time set aside to do this. It's going to take an hour, and you don't want to try to rush it. Start the onions in a cold pan by adding the butter, and then half the onions to avoid crowding the pan. Don't wait for the fat to get too hot before adding the first batch. You want to avoid burning the onions, and starting them slowly will help release the moisture. Let the first half of the onions soften, and then add the rest. Stir every couple of minutes, and make sure to scrape the bottom of the pan. As browning speeds up, reduce the heat. If the browning is happening too quickly, add a little water to deglaze the pan. As the glaze builds, and this is called the fond in French, you want to scrape it up and mix it in with the onions. Keep doing this until your onions begin to take on that rich caramel color. Dark blonde if you're making French onion soup. A rich coffee if you're topping a sandwich. It's up to you how far you go. By the time you get to dark blonde, you should see about 30% of the volume in the pan as the moisture has been cooked off. When you've reached the depth of caramelization you want, deglaze the pan one last time with some balsamic vinegar and add a pinch of salt to season to taste. And there you have your caramelized onions. Store them in an airtight container for up to a week, and don't forget to date and label them. I use some of this batch on a sandwich inspired by Vermont to the core. This is a sandwich I had on a recent visit to Cold Hollow Cider Mill, and you can catch the recipe for that in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recipe, like and subscribe for more as we cook our way across America from the roads less traveled.